All right. Wow.
Yes.
Everyone can stop looking at me for a minute. That'd be great. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Well, as most of you know, I'm Gregory Hardin. I'm running for state representative here in House District 26. Um, yeah. Let's see. What was I going to say? Oh, well. Can I restart? No. Some of the stuff that's been going on in the legislature hasn't been great this session. Had a conversation with Colin Walkie yesterday on my show about some of the stuff that's been going on. He said it's not the worst of the worst that it could be, but it's still bad. It could be better. We, in the state Senate, the school voucher bill or school choice bill got shot down. What was it, 24 to 22? Yeah, and no help to anyone who represents us, because I believe Shane Jett, even though I'm not running against him, he voted in favor of it.
He co-authored.
Yeah. So, the whole fight, I got in a fight on Twitter. This is going to happen. I'm going to mention this in the thing. On Twitter a few weeks ago, I got into an argument with some bots and people. Mostly it was started by the communications director for the governor. Her name is Carly. I believe she's like 25 years old, and you wouldn't know that by reading her tweets, but people trust her to communicate things. Either way, she asked a question about saying reporters who are covering the school choice issue, they should ask opponents of the bill if they would send their kids to private schools or if they went to private schools. And so I quote tweeted it at 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm not going to say why I was up at 2 a.m. in the morning, but I was. And saying, I went to private school whenever I was younger. For the first 6.5 years of my life, I went to Family of Faith out in the north part of Pot County. And, I still oppose school choice because I believe that public dollars should be staying in public schools. My parents paid out of pocket for those 6.5 years for me to go to private school. It wasn't public dollars that did that. And the conversation ended up being about why do I believe in myself being able to go to private schools, but depriving other people of being able to go. It's like, well, I didn't use private dollars, so that's not the point of the policy that you're advocating for. Either way, I ended up having to lock my account because a whole bunch of bots and people, right-wingers, started attacking me. It was fun. But point is, I am both somewhat a product of private school and public schools, but I believe that we should be strengthening our public schools. I'm glad that those dollars that were supposed to go to the public school that I ended up transferring into partway through my 4th grade year were still there, and that school was a good school. It was North Rock Creek specifically. And so let's see, where else we're going to go from there. So talk about Twitter drama. Let's talk about something else.
Is public education your number one?
It's at the top there. Yeah, public education's one of the bigger issues. Like, public education is definitely what helped to make me who I am today. I wouldn't have been able to, do most of the things that I did in school if it wasn't for going to public school. Wouldn't have been able to play trumpet in band since I was in 5th grade. Until my senior year. I wouldn't have been able to be part of robotics at the school that I went to. I wouldn't have met a lot of the people who I became lifelong friends with, and probably wouldn't be, who knows, probably wouldn't be running for office right now because I got some of my first starts in politics with having a Young Democrats group my senior year. I highly doubt that would have happened at that school that I went to. Public schools are important, and we need to invest in them and not be diverting funds for them so people can try to improve private schools, because not all private schools are, the best thing with a whole bunch of opportunities, because they don't have to have those things because they're not mandated by the state and paid for by the state to be able to have those things.
I would like to say about private schools, if they're not required to provide breakfast and lunch to students. They're not required to provide public transportation to their students. So if our kiddos around here lose funding for public school and they wouldn't be able to afford, I mean, a lot of working families rely on those two things.
Why do parents pay more to go to private school then? What's the point?
Yeah.
They're guaranteed to do something better education. What is it? Does the public have cooties?
Yeah. And what else was I going to mention in this? I put, let's see, make a joke about Limp Bizkit. I remember a few years ago, I was thinking at my campaign fundraisers, if there's music playing in the background, I get to choose that music. So what am I going to play? Obviously, I'm going to play Limp Bizkit and Korn and stuff. So,
I turned it down. I should have probably let it go.
right? My voice being overlaid over Fred Durst's voice is, you know, the soundtrack of my life. Okay, so it would have been just like, you know, high school. But the campaign filing's in a couple of weeks. I don't think I'll have a primary opponent, but if I do, you know, it's going to be hard for them to, you know, try to beat me since I've been campaigning for the last almost 6 months and fundraising and talking to people and knocking doors. So I would feel bad for them because I would crush them. And that's just like, that's not me boasting about myself. I'm just stating the facts. So I do welcome them, not with open arms. I'm not going to be hugging them. But, you know, filings in a couple of weeks, and then that's when, you know, it'll just be me and Del Curbs up against each other in November.
Your main
And
focus is public education.
public education, criminal justice
That's
reform,
what I was gonna ask.
improving workers' rights, and communication and transparency. I already told the story about me and Del Curbs at Starbucks at my kickoff, so I'm not going to retell that story, even though it's funny and it makes him look bad. I could tell other stories about Del Curbs and how he doesn't really like me, but, you know, those aren't as funny.
According to him, he doesn't really like anyone. He
That's
likes
true,
everyone.
yeah.
How
He
old is
doesn't
your
like everyone
incumbent?
equally.
Very, very old. If you want a more specific answer, too old. Okay. No, he's like 47, I think.
Hey.
Okay.
You just have to
Whoa, whoa.
No, but you know,
He hasn't had great policy.
He has old ways of thinking.
Yeah.
If he's only 47, I'm shocked. Because
Yeah.
That's not his fault.
No, the fun. Okay, so I do have something fun to say. A teacher of his that I also had in school told me one day, and this was also shocking to me because I had no idea me and Del could have had the same teacher because he's so much older. But anyway, a teacher of his that he had in school when he was like in high school told me that he hopes that I beat him. So that, I feel like that's something that needs to be stated in order to humiliate Del Curbs and make him look bad, since I don't have the Starbucks story to tell.
I'll have to see it.
But let's see. I believe I'm the better person for the job. I don't think Del Curbs has done very well over the last 6 years. Not a fan. Well, I guess I could say that, but he's definitely not friendly to teachers or a fan of teachers, and they're not necessarily a fan of his either, because I've had conversations with teachers about how he interacted with them during the walkout back in 2018, and other parents have also told me, and I quote, "I hope you kick his ass." So, yeah. Let's see. Make sure I get all my points here. If you haven't signed up or signed in yet, please sign in. Your name, I believe address, email, whether or not you're willing to volunteer, take some of my campaign literature, follow and like my Facebook page, and please do not follow me on Twitter. You will be disappointed. That's all I have to say about Twitter. But thank you all for coming. I really, really appreciate all the support. Some of my closest friends and people I've known for a long time. Paul here, and yeah, I'm gonna mention you. And thank you, Trish and Brett, for hosting my fundraiser here. It's been really great.
Thank you.